Alright hitters and everybody else that watched the previous video on protein and how essential protein is. Again, we talked about what is protein really used in the body for. We said muscle tissue repair, right? Preserving lean muscle mass. I might have missed that one. Also, used as an energy source when carbohydrates are not available. Okay, and then of course I mentioned the immune system. So let's talk about a little bit on carbohydrates. Okay. How essential are carbohydrates? A lot of people nowadays are terrified of carbs. Some people even more so than fat. But you got to understand, guys, in order for you to even lose body fat at times, okay, you do need carbohydrates. Okay, why? Carbohydrates are going to be the main source of fuel of the body. Okay, when you do high intensity interval training, for example, if you do not have enough glucose in your system, meaning that you didn't take enough carbs, what's going to happen? Your body, because the workouts are so intense, the body goes into what's called an anaerobic state, meaning that it can't process oxygen fast enough, so it needs a fuel source rapidly. What is your body going to usually do? Your body's going to go and break down muscle tissue because it needs energy right away, which that's the last thing we want to do. Okay. Now, we said 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories, right? Guess what 1 gram of carbs equals? 4 calories. Okay. 1 gram of carbs, 4 calories. Some of the functions of carbohydrates, why they're important and what the body used for, again, we said is the main source of fuel, okay, for your body. It's also, believe it or not, it's also used to assist in muscle tissue repair. So that's why we do need, regardless if you're trying to lose body fat and you have to lower your carbs a certain way or cycle them through the day, you do need some carbs because they will assist with muscle recovery. How so, you ask? Well, when you intake carbohydrates, okay, and it gets processed in your liver, and body starts to work and all this stuff, what ends up happening is your body will release what's called insulin. I'm sure you guys have heard that before. Insulin is a hormone released by the body. If I remember correctly, it's by the pituitary gland. It's the aft part of the pituitary gland, la pituitaria in Spanish. And insulin is used in the body to assist with muscle recovery, with growth, okay? So insulin is good. Now, too much insulin, okay, for high periods of time, which happens when people overload themselves on carbs, especially simple carbs, okay? What will happen is that now, because the insulin is being used to recover the muscle, or to assist in the muscle recovery, okay? Guess what happens to your body fat burning mode? It shuts down pretty much, okay? Your body will pretty much stop processing body fat at that point. All right, but again, we do need carbs. For example, you're going to come here and do one of our HIIT workouts here at HIIT Fitness Group. I always tell everybody, hey, make sure an hour to 2 hours prior to working out here, you got to intake some carbs. And depending on their body weight and everything, I tell them, this is how much you're going to need approximately. Okay? Why? Because when you get here, we want to use those carbohydrates, that glucose, okay, that your liver will produce for energy. That's going to be your energy source when you get to those AMRAPs, those as many repeats as possible, where you're just pushing out some weight, doing a shitload of burpees, stuff like that. Okay, that's what we want. When we go into the active recovery part of the workout, when your heart rate starts to come down and it goes from anaerobic to aerobic, then guess what? Your body's going to start utilizing more body fat. Now, it's always going to be mixed. Okay, a lot of people think, oh, when I go anaerobic, I'm just using carbs. No, your body will use whatever it needs for energy, and it varies from person to person. The main source is going to be carbohydrates, but it can use fat, and it can even use muscle if it needs to. Okay, when you go into the aerobic state, meaning a lower intensity to moderate intensity type exercise, your body will still use carbohydrates, but it'll be the main energy source is going to be body fat. Okay, now another thing that carbohydrates are used for, okay, especially if they're high in fiber, help with your system, right, to clean you out, colon and all that good stuff, right? Because why? Fiber cannot be processed by the body. So if a carbohydrate is high in fiber, which is good for you, it just goes right through you, and then you don't end up having too many issues like constipation and even hemorrhoids and things like that. All right. So the other thing that carbohydrates can help with is also brain function. If you guys have noticed, anybody that's done really low carb diets, they tend to be kind of stressed. They kind of tend to have a hard time focusing on things. Why? Because they don't have the right macronutrient that assists with the brain. Okay. Also, your kidneys and other organs in your body okay, also need carbohydrates. Where do you find carbs, you say? There's two types of carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates, and some people call them simplex, but I call them simple carbs. Okay, complex carbohydrates, what that means is that they're built a different way, and your body takes it longer for them to break them down. Usually, anybody that knows anything about nutrition, you know for a fact that you need more complex carbs than simple carbs. When do you take them? You ask. Well, it depends. You know, like I said before, it depends on what you're doing. Okay. Typically, what you'll find with a lot of bodybuilders, okay, is that they tend to consume either complex or even simple carbs before a workout. Why? Because they need the energy to fuel their body. Okay. And even after their workout, which a lot of times, if you're trying to lose body fat, I usually don't recommend, especially if you're being really strict. Bodybuilders, they will usually spike up their insulin level by taking in simple carbs. I've known bodybuilders that even after a workout, they'll eat some Jolly Ranchers, they'll eat stuff like that, anything that gets their sugar levels high. Okay, complex carbs, again, get processed by the body and a lot slower than simple carbs. That's why if you eat something that's complex, right, like wheat bread, oatmeal, stuff like that, you're going to notice that you might even get an energy increase. I do. I eat that stuff and I actually feel my energy levels go up. You eat anything simple like a donut, you know, white bread, stuff like that, you know, cereals, most cereals, anything that's high in sugar, okay, processed sugar, you're going to notice you're probably going to get a little spike in energy level, and you get that, what everybody calls that crash, okay? So, again, when do I eat the carbs? Should I eat less carbs? Should I eat more carbs? Again, it depends on your fitness goal, and that's one of the things that we work with here at HIIT Fitness Group is, you know, it's going to vary from person to person, and one of the things you need to understand, a lot of things will be trial and error. Okay, you can say, okay, I'm going to consume these amount of carbs and whatever, and it doesn't work for some reason. Well, guess what? Maybe you need more carbs, believe it or not. Maybe you need less carbs. Or maybe you're taking the right amount of carbs, but you're intaking them at the wrong time of the day. Wrong, you know, moments of energy demand on your body. Okay? So I hope you guys learned carbs are good. Okay? Eat complex carbs. I would stay away if you're trying to maintain your body fat and your insulin levels. Try to get more complex carbs where you're finding grains, you know, whole wheat bread, certain fruits, okay? And get after it, all right? Next thing I'll talk about is fats.